Greetings, citizens of Earth. Welcome to Accelerativ Thrust podcast. I am Dan Orr, your host. Episode number 3 we've got. I had a conversation with Mr. Carl Busch, who, as I mentioned in the previous episodes, he is the one who actually asked me to be a part of the Content Made Right group, the Transistor group. I just want to let everyone know that this show is available for streaming currently on Spotify, as well as at accelerativthrust.transistor.fm, and the Content Made Right, www.contentmaderight.com, where you can enjoy this show as well as many other shows such as the Breaking In podcast, Drinks and Discourse, I'm Super Stoked, Meteor City, and the Brood Awakenings. So today's show, I am talking to Carl Busch, and we discuss a lot of different things. I've known Carl for quite some time now, and we just kind of talk about the pandemic. We kind of talk a little bit about the George Floyd incident and just kind of the civil unrest that's kind of going on in general in the country. And we talk a little bit about, actually a lot, about our favorite music. And in particular, we go into a conversation about politics and music, and also our top 5 albums that we listened to in high school that still remain relevant to us today. So I'm not really going to ramble on too much at the beginning of this episode. In fact, I'm pretty much done right now. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoy my conversation with Carl Busch.
Yeah, I've just been doing some work, and after this, gotta go do some more work, so.
Yeah, how's work been going?
Busy as fuck. Yeah.
Have you guys, now, you work at a brewery, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So, is it, like, what did you guys do during the, whole, like, shutdown thing? Are you guys, like, open, like, for sit down? Like, are people able to come in and everything?
Yeah, now they are. Ever since the weekend before Memorial Day weekend, so I think that was like the 15th of May, we opened back up for sit down, 50% capacity, no more of groups of 6, and then just last week we can do groups of 10 now.
So what did you guys do during the shutdown? Were you sorry.
Oh no, takeout and to go.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Just that. So we've never missed a day of business because of it. So
cool. So, well, I'm glad to hear that you're back up and running. How's it feel to be back up and running? This whole thing has been weird, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's super weird. Like, I don't even know. I just can't wait till like August, and hopefully we'll have either A will be open 100% or B will be shut down by 0%. And I'm not talking about us personally. I'm just talking about like the governor will either open it all up or shut it all down.
Well, and I mean, right now with everything that's going on in the world with, the stuff happening over the George Floyd killing and everything like that, it's like I don't see any other outcome than, I mean, if everything about this virus is true that the CDC and WHO have been telling us, I don't see any other outcome than us getting higher numbers again, like in the next month or so.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh, it's gonna be crazy.
well, it's strange because I don't know what it's like where you live. You live in Dubuque, right? Dubuque, Iowa.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
know what it's like over there, but in Muscatine, it's like our numbers, our deaths have been at a steady zero, as far as I know, for a few days now. But it kind of goes back up and down a little bit. Like we haven't had anything over like 4 in probably at least a good week or week and a half. But I know the last 2 days it was 0. I think on Saturday it was 4. The day before that, I think it was 1
Okay.
positive case. But like the numbers in Muscatine seem to be going down. What's it like in Dubuque? Do you know?
I honestly have no idea. I'm too busy working all the time to even
Sure.
look at numbers and know what they are, unless I see someone post it on Facebook. But I actually don't have hardly any Dubuque friends on Facebook. So, and I honestly, if they are friends with me, I work with them. So, I mean, yeah, I don't really have no idea.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, it's
I'm gonna,
crazy.
I'm gonna assume it's like, yeah, I'm gonna assume it's still gaining, but not by much. Hey, can you hold on 1 second? I gotta go put
Sure.
something back in my freezer. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sorry, I had to put ice cream away. My cat was trying to eat it while I'm talking to you. And,
What kind of ice cream was it?
it's called Beechers. It's from a local place here in town. It's fucking dope. It's super good. It's like they make it in house. It's super creamy, not too sugary, but just enough.
Sure, yeah. What flavor?
Uh, Cheesecake and strawberry.
Oh yeah,
So
that sounds
honestly,
absolutely delightful.
yeah, I like it better than Whitey's.
Oh
Like
yeah,
Whitey's is
wow,
too thick, but
cool. Yeah, I actually the other day I just tried one of those. You know how Dairy Queen has their summer blizzards.
okay, yeah,
I just tried an Oreo cheesecake blizzard the other day.
yeah,
It
how was that?
Well, do you remember the Scooter Crunch bars? Did you ever eat those growing up?
Fuck, dude, I don't remember.
Dude, like they're like these.
I've killed. Yeah,
Oh, sorry. Go on, Carl.
I was gonna say I've killed a lot of brain cells since my Muscatine days.
Oh
So,
yeah, I totally understand. The Scooter Crunch bars were like, do you know those strawberry crunch ice cream bars that they sell? That's like,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the Scooter Crunch are like those, but they're made with chocolate instead of strawberry.
Okay,
And that's exactly what the cheesecake blizzard. It reminded me of that in a cup. It was absolutely fantastic, and I really don't like Dairy Queen that much. I usually don't go crazy over their blizzards, but that blizzard was dope.
right.
Maybe it was somebody who like
That's
made it that
hilarious.
day. I don't really know. I don't really eat a lot of ice cream these days, but when I do, I usually go all out like that shit.
Right, yeah. My wife loves ice cream after every fucking meal. Do you know what I'm in the mood for? It's either ice cream or fucking chocolate. I'm like, Jesus
Oh
Christ.
man, yeah, dude. Like, hey, ice cream. It's one of those things for me where it's like I have to be in the mood for it. It's never really been my dessert. If I'm gonna have dessert, it's never been my dessert of choice. I usually prefer like baked goods, like I love a good
Mhm.
chocolate chip cookie. You know, like
Yeah,
something
yeah.
along those lines.
I'd rather drink my beer.
Drink. So that's what your dessert is, huh?
My that's my dessert choice is a beer or something or a cocktail.
Sure. Hey, whatever. Do you like the dessert cocktails, like sweeter cocktails? Like, like I'm thinking, I'm not an expert in cocktails, but like, and I don't know if it's considered a cocktail, but I know a lot of people go crazy over like the mudslide, for instance, and things like that.
Those are probably a little too sweet for me. I'm like talking like a white Russian or just straight up like an old fashioned. Even though I know old fashioned is not considered a dessert cocktail, but that's like a good nightcap.
Sure, sure. Cool, cool. So, We are going to talk about political music, politics and music.
Yeah, like Rage. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine, and then you also wanted to talk a little bit about the movie industry, like the current state of the cinema industry, and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think it's fucking fascinating. Yeah, I think it's fascinating.
It is. It's interesting. I'm definitely not a movie expert at all. But what's your take on the current state of the movie industry?
It's fucked up right now. Are we recording? Are you recording
Yeah.
this right
Yep.
now?
Yes, I am recording right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think.
I probably should have warned you about that. The way I do this, the way I do this podcast is I just fucking click record as soon as I get somebody on the phone, and if I have to edit, I'll edit. But like generally, as you could probably tell if you've listened to the first couple of any of the first couple of episodes, I just keep it pretty raw and uncut.
No, yeah, that's the best. So, all right, yeah. So, movie industry is pretty fucked right now, obviously, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when's the last time a movie premiered at a movie theater? 80 days almost ago, right?
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be, let's see, this is technically right now, Memorial Day weekend is the start of blockbuster movies. Is that it's usually the first weekend they consider when blockbuster movies are supposed to be coming out, and we are not going to get any of those this year. I don't think. I think like Ghostbusters, the second Wonder Woman movie. Let's see here, blockbuster movies 2020. Let's see, there's other ones that I can't think of right now, but they're all going to get delayed. They're all going to be pushed back to next year. And so those are all on hold. They'll still make a killing. But the crazy thing is, all these movies that they're supposed to be filming this year, right now, they're not, right? So all these movies that are supposed to come out next year are going to have it probably at least 2 to 3 more years behind it, because now things are going to change, right? Like funding for it's going to change, actors' availability are going to change, directors' availability are going to change. So it's actually throwing a huge wrench, I think, in how this is all going to play out. But then I also say, like AMC, the movie theater company, there have been talks that they could go under because of this. And that would be crazy if one of the biggest movie theaters in the United States closes shop.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's crazy. I've never even thought about that because I've been paying attention to the music industry and how like the whole pandemic has been affecting the music industry. And one of the things that I never really thought about until just now, actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, other than like Netflix, with like the music industry, you have all these streaming platforms like Spotify, where I mean it's not necessarily much when you think about like one single stream from like a song to like an independent artist. Like for example, if you or I uploaded something to Spotify, we wouldn't make that much, but of course an artist like I don't know we mentioned Rage Against the Machine, for instance, they're still gonna make a killing, but artists are still able to make money off of a streaming platform, whether it's Spotify, whether it's SoundCloud, whether it's even YouTube, to a certain extent. Is there anything that exists like that in the movie industry other than like, I mean, obviously like Netflix, Hulu, they're all streaming platforms, but like, I mean, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think the answer to that is it's whatever the contract that the movie industry, like Century Fox or whatever like that, whatever. Shit, I can't even think of a movie company right now. Movie companies. So you got one of the bigger guys like Warner Brothers, Walt Disney, or 20th Century Fox. Let's take them for example, right?
Right.
20th Century Fox. This is what I've heard. I'm not 100% true on it, but I don't know how any of this is going to work. 20th Century Fox signs a contract with Netflix saying you get access to these movies for this amount of time, and you are going to pay us this much amount of money to be able to stream those movies on your platform. So 20th Century Fox is making money because Netflix is paying them to be able to provide those movies. And then there's probably stipulations saying, is this contract so only this movie can be played on this platform? And if they probably do, that means probably Netflix would have to pay more money, to get that exclusive rights.
Okay.
To it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But
and so yes.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, so that's how they're making money. Is that, and that's just 20th Century Fox, right? Like the president, the CEO, and the board members, the actors, and the crew. They're all getting paid from 20th Century Fox when they made the movie last year or 2 years ago, or so they don't. I doubt that they see any of that money from like a Netflix deal or a Hulu deal or a Amazon Prime deal, unless it's a main actor, someone maybe like a Tom Cruise or a Tom Hanks, or a big director like Christopher Nolan, where they own a piece of that movie for the rest of life. I don't think that really happens that much, but you never know with some of those big wigs.
Okay, yeah, and that was going to be my question. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then another thing that I see is there's a lot of actors like Adam Sandler, for instance. He puts a lot of he directs movies, and he has a lot of contracts with Netflix and stuff like that. So yeah, that's interesting. So this is specifically because of the pandemic that we're not getting a lot of these blockbusters. Do you know what the blockbuster movie list was supposed to be like this summer? What were the big ones that people were looking for?
Like I said, the Ghostbusters one was probably the one I was the most excited for.
Oh, that was Ghostbusters 3.
Did you ever see a trailer for that?
No, I never did, but that's with the original cast,
Ghostbusters. Right? Yep. So basically it's in the same timeline as 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And basically it's like, I think the grandkids of the original Ghostbusters was going to be it. That was them, and then, the history of all that. So it had the main kid from Stranger Things is in it. He's the main actor.
Oh, okay.
And then the kid with the longer hair, I don't know their names.
Yeah, I don't know I know one of them is Finn Wolfhard or something like that, but that's the only one that I know of. I think that's the one with the longer hair, actually.
Right.
Is Finn Wolfhard. Yeah.
Yep.
It makes total sense that they're going to actually have the some of the cast from Stranger Things in a movie like Ghostbusters.
Oh, of course, and plus he's super popular. Stranger Things is super popular, so how do you get people to movie theater? Get the popular kids that are on different platforms, I know the movie Tenet is supposed to come out with Christopher Nolan. It's his next best project. That looks pretty like an Inception type movie. Mulan, the Disney movie, is supposed to come out in July. SpongeBob is supposed to come out in August. Wonder Woman, August. Let's see, Bill and Ted is supposed to come out in August.
I just saw that trailer.
Obviously some of these movies. What'd you think of it?
I thought it looked interesting. I'm not sure. It looked to me. I mean, it's hard to judge a movie by its trailer, but it kind of looked to me like it was. I kind of saw a little bit too much of like Keanu Reeves and. Oh, geez, I feel like such a moron here. What's the other actor's name? Alex?
No, dude, something. Dude,
I can't think of his name. I think it's Alex something, isn't it? Forgive me, everybody. I can't remember the actor's name worth shit right now.
Alex Winter.
Alex Winter, that's it. Alex Winter.
Alex Winter.
But anyway, It looked to me like it was almost like they were trying. Like it almost it almost came off as like a couple of old guys doing a parody of like Bill and Ted. Like
Right.
you know what I mean? Like it kind of just seemed like the way Keanu Reeves was talking, it didn't have that natural like dude, party, that sort of
Right.
that they had when the movies were being made, Bogus Journey and Excellent Adventure. That being said, it looked like
Right.
it looked like it would be a fun movie.
Yeah, I was going with it super low expectations. I'm just there to have fun. But I get what you're saying. I mean, it's kind of hard for to play a character that you haven't played in 25 years or some shit. It's got to be super hard to keep in that, and kind of remember how you did. Because I mean, obviously, Keanu's had a blockbuster career. He is now an action star.
Yeah, it's like I mean,
yeah,
it's very it's got to be very difficult to go from Bill and Ted, which correct me if I'm wrong, that was basically at least his first major role, wasn't it?
either that or Planned Parenthood.
Okay, yep.
Not Planned Parenthood. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I can't. I can't think of it right.
No, it's not Planned Parenthood. It's a movie it's got a bunch. Oh, Parenthood. And yes, you're right. Bill and Ted was 89. Parenthood was 89 too. So Parenthood was a movie with Steve Martin,
Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves was in that.
Yeah, he was the boyfriend of the girl, and Joaquin Phoenix was the younger brother that was hiding porn in his room, and Keanu Reeves was like the dipshit boyfriend that liked to get into car wrecks and shit like that. But and then also Rick Moranis is in it. But anyways, I don't know. It's a fun movie. Just families and how fucked up your problems are in life. So, but yeah, Keanu Reeves was in that.
Yeah, that's.
But yeah, you are right. Bill and Ted looks like that's his first major thing.
Yeah, and it's got to be difficult when you have a career like Keanu Reeves, like you were saying. I mean, we're talking about the same guy who, from Bill and Ted, he did things like Point Break and Speed and The Matrix. I mean, he was in The Matrix, for God's sakes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, like you said, he's an action star. It's like he's what else? John Wick. I mean, he's done all these other like roles that have nothing to do with. They distanced themselves from like Bill and Ted so much that it's like you see Keanu Reeves in Bill and Ted. It's like a completely different actor at this point.
Right, exactly. It's like, man, that is the same guy. But I mean, I think some people give him shit, but he does his job. He's really good at it, and I think he's taken this whole Keanu Reeves persona, like he's just running with it, and he's doing such a good job with it. There's a movie that, let's see, I'm looking up. Always Be My Maybe. It's a movie where these two kids used to be in love. They first had sex, and then they went and had separate lives for like 20 plus years, and they meet each other again. And she's a professional chef, and he works for his dad's like heating and cooling company, and they get back together, and she's dating Keanu Reeves, like the actual Keanu Reeves, and he's just overplaying his character. It's so fucking great. He's like just not taking himself seriously. It's pretty fantastic.
Wow, I don't remember that at all. Yeah. So
no, it's 2019, but yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's not that old. Gotcha.
No, I think it's a Netflix movie, or you ever see the TV show Straight Out of the Boat or Straight Off the Boat?
No, I haven't.
Or did you see the movie The Interview with Seth Rogen and
what's that? Yeah, Seth Rogen and
James Franco.
James Franco. Yeah, yep, absolutely. I did see that one.
Oh, okay, the guy who played the Korean leader, Yim, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Kim Jong-un.
He's the guy that stars in the movie. He's the guy that stars in this movie, Always Be My Maybe. So he's the main actor in it. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. But
I may have to.
yeah. So, but yeah. Anyways, going back, it's fun. It's hilarious. It's pretty fun.
Cool. I
But
may have to look that up.
yeah, I don't know. Like with that, so kind of yeah. But going back to like the whole movie thing is how much movie, and I'm not crying for them. I'm not like, oh man, it sucks to be them. But it is interesting to think, how much money do you think these movie companies are losing this year? Right? They have all this money invested in all these movies, and they are not seeing a single dime.
No, yeah.
They're
It
not
is
going to see a
crazy.
single dime return.
Yeah, when you think about it, like they've got to be taking a huge hit compared to like what they have in the past for sure. I mean,
Oh yeah,
have
exactly.
movie theaters even opened up like across the country? I mean,
I'm going to say no because, yeah, I don't think so. I think that's going to be one of the last ones because you're sitting next to someone, a stranger, for fucking 2 hours, So,
yeah, but it's like,
yeah,
I
I bet
mean,
that's going to be one of the last things.
yeah, but I mean, it's like at the same time, like, I mean, they're actually talking already about opening up, some concerts, and I know that they canceled
Yeah,
all Fourth of July activities here. It's
yeah.
it's weird some of the stuff that they are like allowing to be open, but then they're
It
other
doesn't make
stuff.
sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's kind of like, well, I mean, you could even. Yeah, no, yeah, it is weird. It doesn't make any sense. Like some of the stuff is like, it's like you would think that that's the stuff that you'd want to be closed, and then some of the other stuff is like they're having closed is like, well, if this other thing isn't open, why is this thing not allowed to be open? You get what I'm saying? Or
Right.
if this other thing, I'm
Oh
sorry, I
yeah,
said it wrong. If this
yeah,
other thing is allowed to be open, why isn't this thing allowed to be open? It doesn't make any sense
yeah.
at all.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
if I can go to a bar, yeah, you can go to bars right now, and now you can stand next to people. Like, yeah, so, I get it. It's there's no rhyme and reason. I mean, but I
well,
don't know.
I guess
I guess if they just opened everything up right away, it would look irresponsible. Maybe I don't fucking know.
yeah, I don't know, but I guess that like the World Health Organization, the WHO, I guess today there was an article that they're now saying that this whole thing about asymptomatic people spreading the virus to other people is actually rare. Like that actually doesn't seem to be the case now. And so if that's the
Nope.
case, then does that mean that masks were never doing any good to begin with? I mean, like, because that was the whole reason why they were telling people to wear a mask if they went out in public to get groceries or something, is because, well, yeah, you could be asymptomatic and carry it, but if you don't wear a mask, then you run the risk of spreading it to somebody who is high risk or somebody who has, like not to get into the COVID conversation, but it is interesting to me that it's happening. And what a coincidence that it's happening. And I hate to be this guy, but it's happening at the same time that people are protesting in the fucking streets, like in these big cities. you know
That's why that's why this has been planned for 4 years.
what the COVID?
No, dude, I'm just fucking with you. All
Oh,
this
okay.
shit. I'm just saying,
I was gonna
people
say.
and different people. Yeah, dude, I'm not a conspiracy person, but it is fun to think about it, right? Like, just like, what if two motherfuckers were sitting in a room, like, listen, Frank, I got this crazy idea of how we could fucking get things kind of back to normal in this world. It all starts with China,
Well, do you think
But
that if let's just say that that's true. Let's say that that's 100% what's going down. And I'm like you,
mhm.
I've read a lot of this stuff, and it's sort of like one of those things where like I'm like you, I try to think about it in my head like, well, if this is true, why would they want to do this? Like
Mhm.
what good would a couple of like rich guys, they have all the money in the world right now, Well, what good would they do? Do you think it would be for them to? Do you think that their thought process would be, let's get everything back to normal, or do you think that it would actually be population control, like a lot of those conspiracy theorists theorize?
Definitely population control, because then if you control the population, then you're also controlling what they're buying, what they're spending, what they're doing. I mean, it's just like any of those movies that you see, like Ready Player One or any of the other like futuristic movies where they talk about things are just out of hand and one big corporation's running it all. I mean, because those guys who are filthy rich now, they want more, right? Mm-hmm. They're never happy, right? Because if you got all the money in the world, what else is there to have? You have power. Then that's what they want.
Yeah, and I do want to say one thing too.
I mean, that's what I think about it.
Yeah, no, that is a really, really good point. And I do want to say one thing too. Like, I also, just to be clear, I've seen a lot of the footage of the protesters, and I also see that a lot of them are wearing masks and taking supposed or not taking the COVID-19 precautions. So I do see that. I think it's not like everybody is out there not wearing a mask and not social distancing. I think most of the protesters are probably doing it safely. I think that the media likes to really drive fear into the minds of us Americans and show like the destructive part of what's going down.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but I also think half the reason why they're all wearing masks is because they're covering up their face, so in case someone takes their picture, they're not going to get prosecuted for doing possibly something illegal too. So it's doing two things, right? It's the COVID and it's helping protecting their identity.
Yeah, and that's true, because that's true. A lot of them, even before COVID, when all of the other like protests were going on, they were doing the same thing. A lot of them. That's true. That's a good point.
So, right.
Did you ever hear?
But yeah, it's crazy.
Did you ever hear the any of the conspiracy theories? Since we're kind of talking about conspiracy theories a little bit, did you ever hear any of the conspiracy theories that some of those movies, like what you were talking about, actually, like Ready Player One, actually had predictions, like they were actually predicting, like it was like predictive programming is what they call it. Have you ever heard anything about that?
I've heard something like that, where they are running like crazy, what is it, not tests, but what do you call it when you run simulations, right?
Yes.
And then they just kind of like go with it. But I haven't really dived too deep down those rabbit holes, because I dive deep in rabbit holes already, and to put something else in there on my plate is pretty crazy. But yes, I've heard of like that's how they get those ideas, because
it's kind of crazy. There's actually some theories that like Back to the Future predicted 9/11, and Back to the Future predict, because there was that whole thing where like what was it that the year that Marty McFly set the time to when he traveled ahead, and that was the year that what was it? Do you know what I'm talking about? It was was it the Cubs won the World Series? Yes. And also Biff was actually based apparently on Donald Trump.
Really?
Yeah, no, and like that, it started kind of, from what I hear in the conspiracy circles, as like, well, Back to the Future predicted like Trump's presidency, but then like I guess like if you actually like go and look up Back to the Future, the director actually says no, he actually was based on Donald Trump, like at the time, so
right.
He was like, Donald Trump was actually like a blueprint for the character Biff. And it's interesting because
that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. And then also like The Simpsons, and yeah,
dude, The Simpsons is crazy. Like, how many did they get right?
Yeah.
Like, how many have they like gotten spot on?
Well, I mean, they actually did.
It's like,
there actually was an episode where Trump like, was it Lisa woke up in the future and it was like a nightmare and Trump was like
Mm-hmm.
president? It's like,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah, dude. It's even the shots. It's even like the shot for shot, like the thing, going up the escalator, waving his hand, and certain people at certain places, and it's like almost looks spot on. It's like,
Yeah,
what motherfucker knows time travel and got on the Simpsons fucking writing crew?
absolutely. No, it's insane. I still would argue though that the golden years of The Simpsons, what was it, like seasons 1 through like maybe 8? Maybe season 1 not so much, but
Yeah.
definitely between like seasons 2 and like 8 are still probably hold up as some of the best moments on television ever. I mean,
Oh, dude, that was such a. I mean, I don't remember like episodes too much anymore because I haven't watched the show for so long. But yeah, I just remember growing up and how controversial that show was. I remember my parents, my mom, did not want me fucking watching that show at all, or me and my brothers.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we somehow found a way. Oh, dude, so insane.
It's crazy to think about what parents were concerned about back then compared to like what kids are exposed to today. Like, because back then it was like the worst thing that my parents were really worried about was like music that had a parental advisory sticker. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
basically like, you know, today, I mean, that stuff just seems so tame compared to a lot of the stuff that kids are exposed. Even like the stuff in the video games. Like we didn't have Grand Theft Auto when we were growing up, really.
No, the closest thing that type of game I could think of growing up was Leisure Suit Larry.
I
You ever play that game?
don't know what Leisure Suit Larry.
No.
What system was this
Suit
on?
Larry.
What system was that on?
Fucking computer.
Leisure
Computer.
Suit
The
Larry.
basic. Yeah, you just
That is
Google
that is a
shit, man.
hilarious name.
Oh yeah, you just go back and look at the fucking the images on the fucking the covers of the games and shit like that, but it was hilarious. Like I don't remember specifically, but basically it was just this creepy guy that's got to go around and run businesses and stuff like that. I can remember. I don't fully remember, but yeah, I just remember that was like the first adult themed game I could remember.
That's crazy. I do not remember that at all, but I like that name. That's insane. That sounds like
Yeah,
some
it's
sort
great,
of
right?
like nerd rapper or something. Like I'm Leisure Suit Larry. Like
All right.
that's
Yeah, that'd
insane.
be kind of like a good name for like a rapper or a band like the Tony Danza Experiment or like that, right?
Yeah,
It'd kind
yeah,
of fall on
something
that line.
something along those lines, man. That's insane. I'm gonna have to
So
Google
you
it.
wanna, yeah, dude, just look it up after this. It's fucking hilarious.
I'll have
But
to.
so you want to hear my crazy conspiracy theory about the coronavirus?
Yeah. Let's hear it. Let's hear it,
This is
Carl.
like
This is uncensored.
okay.
This is
So this is
coming to you from the
yeah,
vault, from Carl Busch's vault, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, right, exactly.
Let's hear it.
So
Bring it to me.
okay, we're kind of talking about how movies and stuff have been dictated and stuff like that. So, the movie Interstellar, right? You've seen it,
I haven't seen it, but I know of it.
right? Okay, so do you understand the concept of how they explain time and and how time evolves when you travel further away from Earth? Do you understand how that notion works?
Not really. Can you
No.
enlighten me? I mean, or
Okay,
maybe
so
I've had it explained to me, but
so,
I don't remember.
right. So basically, the entire movie, whatever, they're trying to find new land. Well, they got to go millions of light years away to try to go find new places to live, right? And
Hmm.
so the thought process is when you're in space and you're in different, basically either atmospheres or universes, time moves differently. And the
Hmm.
further you get away from the start of time, which is let's just say Earth, the time either goes faster or slower.
Okay.
So
All
if
right.
you're at one spot, like so let's say you and I are sitting in a shit together. We're millions of miles away. well, time on Earth is, even though we maybe spend an hour where we're at, time on Earth maybe it was like 5 years, right?
Gotcha,
Because just the way
gotcha.
time works like that.
Uh-huh.
So okay, so that's the concept, or that's the outer lining of my conspiracy theory is how that works. So just keep that in mind, okay?
Okay.
So have you seen Avengers, like the newest Avengers, like Endgame and Infinity War?
Dude, you're gonna hate me, but no, I have not. The last Marvel movie that I actually watched, I think was maybe oh geez, it was a few years ago, dude. I'm horrible about following Marvel. I think
No, it's fine.
I think the last one
It's
might
fine.
have been might have been Doctor Strange or something like that.
Okay. Okay, so Thanos, right? The main bad guy that the whole MCU universe is built around, right?
Sure,
the main villain,
yes.
the guy that wants like ultimate power.
Yes.
And he's gathering all the Infinity Stones and all that other shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, anyways, in the last two Avengers, sorry, but I guess spoiler alert, but I don't fucking care because you've had enough time to go watch it on your own.
No. Spoil it for me all you want, because I'll get around to watching it and I'll probably forget that you spoiled it for me anyway. So.
Right. So in Infinity War, basically his whole purpose in getting all the Infinity Stones is he wants the universe to adjust itself and get back to things. He sees his thought process is there's too many mouths to feed. These worlds can't handle the population sizes of basically what every planet is producing, and basically everyone and everything is destroying the entire universe or the entire existence of anything and everything, right?
Sure.
So his thing is, I'm going to collect all of the Infinity Stones, and I'm going to kill half of everything. Half of every living creature is going to be snapped away in existence, and so basically I'm resetting the entire existence of anything and everything, right? So anyways, he does that, and, that kind of makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. So this is my theory. Take those two theories and smash them together. So basically, we are getting Thanos right now. Something millions and millions light years away snap their fingers and they're making everyone half die. But we're just finally seeing the start of it because we're so far away that we're finally seeing the slow roll of it. And that's what the corona is, right? Because it's just killing a bunch of people. Because did you see like all the photos and the videos of like all these lakes and mountains? Everything looks crystal clear because no one's doing anything, right? Like the Earth's getting fixed because people are dying and people aren't doing anything anymore. Mm-hmm. But if you go do something, you have a chance of dying. Mm-hmm. So it's basically, you kind of see it in existence, right? Like, again, this is just not, I don't really believe this is just kind of a joke, but kind of funny too in the same existence that the world is basically trying to kill us, I think. Right? The world's so pissed off at us humans that it's trying to figure out how do we destroy the thing that is, it's like its last ditch effort to get rid of us. So anyways, that's my dumb conspiracy theory that it's Interstellar and Avengers put together because the world wants to kill us half off because we're fucking it all up.
Based on a couple of movies. It doesn't doesn't sound that crazy when you actually think about it's interesting because I've actually had this conversation with a bunch of people. If you look at human beings, just look at human beings and our place on this planet. And it does seem like we are disruptors of nature. Like we are out of place with everything else. We're out of place with everything else because everything else seems to have a method to whatever madness. For example, you could take like spiders, like the Black Widow. The female Black Widow eats the male Black Widow, but there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? There's actually like a method to that madness. Right. Everything else exists in nature, and here we are, these weird beings that we work jobs, we build houses, we make music, and then we're also like, we present ourselves as like the sole controller of the universe in a way. You know what I mean? We present ourselves as like, we're here, this is our ship, we're going to run it. And it's like, so maybe like, you know, your theory could be also sort of like, yeah, the earth is pissed off. Mother Nature has had enough because we've been polluting Mother Nature. We've been fighting Mother Nature. So Mother Nature is just saying, you motherfucker, you're going to pay now.
Right.
And like, maybe this is
Yeah, I mean, we're the...
Oh, I was just going to say,
Right.
maybe this is sort of what was building up with all of the natural disasters that have happened in
Right.
all these years that have killed tons of people off. It's like maybe eventually it was just bound to happen.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, as far as I know, again, I'm not like super knowledgeable about all animals and all human, or not human, I'm sorry, living organisms, but I am pretty sure like we're about the only not race, but I don't know, living existence that like does things out of not necessary, right?
Yeah,
like we do
yeah.
things we don't need to obviously do. Like we
that-
don't need to build 100-story fucking buildings to better our lives. We don't need to do that, right? No elephants, giraffes, fish, they're not doing those things. They're just doing the necessary things to live.
And not only that, they're also contributing to the earth. Look at bees, for instance. What do you get from bees? You
Right.
get honey. So they're actually providing, you know,
Right.
food, nourishment. You know what I mean? And it's
Right.
it's nature with everything else. With us, like, we're the most unnatural thing. We're like out of order. Like,
Yeah.
it's so weird. Yeah. Like you were saying, like, we're the only ones that build things, and we also seem to be the only ones that try to satisfy our needs with like things like money, you know, and we speak different languages. We're also, if you think about it, you could take like spiders, for instance. God, I hate fucking spiders. But spiders, for instance, though, there's different species of spiders, but they all look exactly the fucking same, each species. Like, you could take like a black widow. Every black widow looks exactly identical to each. You know, there's no difference. Every like fucking
Right.
you know, what's that fucking horrifying one, the brown recluse or whatever? Every single one looks the fucking same. You see it, and you can say it's a brown recluse. With human beings, like, every human being is literally different from one another. You know, like, it's
Right.
so weird when you actually like think about it in those terms. You think about human beings in those terms. It's so fucking weird, you know?
Yeah. It's crazy, man. We are a unique...
Yeah, we are unique, that's for sure.
Fucking Jesus, man. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, who knows, right? Like, who knows how much longer the human race has on this earth, you know? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's... there's a part of me
Whatever.
there's a part of me that almost says, like, fuck, you know, like, the way that we're acting, you know, like, we're acting like we are the most important fucking thing on this earth. And the way we're acting towards each other, like, it's almost like, geez, bring on the fucking apocalypse. Like, I hate to say it, but there's a part of me where it's like, maybe it's time for us just to fucking exit. But then there's that other side of me where, like, you know, I really do want, like, mankind, I really do want us all to get along one day, you know? But
Right.
definitely not happening
I wonder
now.
if this is what people were thinking. Yeah, for sure. I wonder if this is what people were thinking, like, during, like, I don't know, World War II, World War One. You know, they're like, what the fuck is going on? Is this world coming to an end? You know what I'm saying? Like, because those are pretty huge events that no one really ever saw before. I mean, I guess you could have saw World War One and Two, but...
Well, think about, like,
I don't know.
think about
What's up, man?
think about what had to have been going through people's minds during the first Civil War on American soil. You know, well, I shouldn't say
Oh
first.
my God.
I shouldn't say first Civil War on American soil. But
Right.
geez, it seems like we're literally like 2 steps behind a fucking civil war right now again in America.
Yeah.
And you know, if those cops, can you imagine what's going to happen if those cops get off on charges? Like
Oh.
that's
Yeah.
the thing.
It would be. Yeah. How are they got like? What I'm about to say is not defending them. It's just talking, right?
Right.
So how are they going to get a fair trial, right? Because like when you get a jury, right? Isn't a jury supposed to be like really have no idea what the premise of what's going on, right? Like you're supposed to try to find people that have no idea about the situation, and because so they weren't biased already, they don't already have like a preconnotation of what's going on. How are you going to find 12 people that have zero idea with who these 4 people are?
That's very
Right?
true.
Like,
It's going to be impossible. And you know what? In a way, that, that's a blessing and a curse, because in this situation, like, I'm glad that that question,
right,
it doesn't have an easy answer. You know what I mean? Like, in this situation, I'm
right.
glad. But there's so many other situations that it's been proven where somebody catches something on video, but it's only like what they want other people to see. And there's actually like
Hmm.
a history to that video. And so, yeah, no, social media has kind of, I don't think, I mean, I think it's going to be impossible at this point for them to have a fair jury. I mean, I do not see them getting off unless it's pure corruption, like 100% pure
Right,
cops protecting cops. Like, and if that happens, think
right.
about what happened with Rodney King.
It'd be fucking.
Dude,
It'd be 20 times worse, man.
we do it 100 times worse. We don't stand a chance. Nobody. Like, regardless,
No,
there's not going to
no,
be a city. There's not going to be a city fucking standing like after that shit. And I
no,
really hope that
no. Yeah,
I really hope that the the Minneapolis police understand that, and the judge understands that yeah, there's gonna be like real fucking civil unrest. Like this stuff that's happening right now is gonna be mere child's play if that fucking happens. And
yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah,
insane to think about, you know? Because
yeah.
we're
I mean,
all
this will probably be the. Yeah, for sure. Sorry.
no, that's okay. Go on, Carl.
But yeah, yeah, I was gonna say, this is gonna whenever the trial is, it's probably gonna be another year, right, before a trial's even like starting.
Yeah.
But this is gonna be like the O.J. Simpson trial, right? Like, do you remember that? Like, I remember because it was like I'm pretty sure it was during the summertime because I was able to watch it every day. I would sit there and watch it. I had no idea about how trials worked and how anything worked, but you were just consumed by it because it was the biggest storyline you could ever think of happened then. But now, when this trial happens, dude, the views on it are going to be insane. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like
That,
everyone's going to be watching this.
er,
Everyone's going to be
yes.
just knee deep in this.
Well, I remember.
Like
Uh,
that might actually break the internet.
Absolutely no. I remember, because you and I went to the same middle school, West Middle School, and I remember you went to West,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Yeah.
I remember our fucking social studies teacher was letting us watch the O.J. Simpson car chase. Like, same with the Branch
Oh,
Davidian, same with Waco. Like, we were watching Waco in fucking social studies class in like 8th grade, you know? And
I remember that. Yeah.
now it's like, it's such a, the whole thing where real life catastrophe becomes almost like synonymous with reality TV. It's those two worlds have like gelled so much that it's almost like like trials are now almost like literally reality TV now at this point, I mean,
Yeah.
with YouTube and everything.
You can't get any more realer than that, right?
No, yeah, exactly. And so like you know what I wonder? I'm surprised nobody has capitalized on it in terms of like I'm surprised that like MTV or something hasn't like found a way to be like, well, they used to do Cops, the show Cops, and I'm surprised that they haven't found a way to be like, hey, let's capitalize on this even more. Let's make it even more sensationalized, and let's do like a mini series that's like, Justice for George Floyd or whatever it is. I'm surprised that like some sick like executive or CEO of like MTV or even like True TV or something hasn't found a way to like capitalize on all of these like videos that are made with like smartphones, and stuff like that, and make it, like I'm kind of surprised that hasn't happened, and I wonder if it is going to happen one of these days, and I wonder how it could happen. I think about that stuff sometimes because
Yeah, I don't know.
the stuff that we watch on YouTube is insane. Like, if you really think about it, we're actually watching stuff that really happens to people now, Like, it's not like, I mean, I'm not saying the real world didn't have a certain element of like truth behind it, at least in the early seasons, but a lot of that's scripted, a lot of this stuff that we're seeing on YouTube is like that video of George Floyd. I mean, basically that was like an updated version of the Rodney King tape,
100%.
It's just insane. We're living in an insane world right now, Carl.
Yeah, the social media has definitely made everyone just desensitized, I think,
Yeah.
And just wanting more, right? Pushing the envelope more and more as humanly possible. I mean, who's that fuckface YouTube star that got in a lot of trouble for like basically getting someone to commit suicide live? Taylor Logan or Jacob Yoke?
Logan Paul, I think was his name.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he pushes that envelope fucking further than almost anyone has on YouTube that I am aware of. I could be wrong. I don't watch the type of shit, but just from listening to other podcasts and stuff like that. I mean, I think, right, like he's streamed someone killing themselves, or he went to a dead body within like an hour of them. I don't remember.
Yeah,
like, he fucked up.
No, I actually saw a clip of the video. He actually he found somebody hanging from a tree and then filmed it.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, and then he posted it on YouTube because of course that's going to get a lot of views.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, it's absolutely insane, and the sad thing is the world we're living in is putting this idea in people's heads, especially not even the younger generation. I mean, there's people of all ages that are sick, but it's like it's kind of putting this idea in people's heads, and this is the downfall, because there's a lot of good that social media does, but one of the downfalls is like it's putting this idea in people's heads that they can just become an instant celebrity over shock value, which but the problem is like where's the cutoff? Because you have somebody who was willing to just film somebody hanging from a tree who committed suicide for more views on his YouTube channel. Like, where's the moral high ground here? Like, when's enough going to actually be enough? I actually think that at least, I guess you could say for lack of a better way to describe it, spiritually, maybe. I'm not really sure, but like social media is also contributing to the end of human civilization. At least from a
Yeah.
just the way we are inside. You know what I mean? Like it's really breaking our. I
Oh
guess if
yeah.
you believe in souls and things like that, it's really breaking. Like it's definitely doing something to the psyche of like human beings for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
allowing it.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's allowing these behaviors that we're seeing right now, unfortunately. But like I said, social media does a lot of
Yeah.
good. I mean, there's a lot of friends, like old friends that I haven't talked to forever that I've reconnected with. And so, there's a good and there's a bad to everything. Like
I mean,
you can use the platform for
we
good. You can
wouldn't
use
be
it for
doing this
evil.
right now if we didn't have social media.
Exactly. So I mean, you can use it for good, you can use it for evil. That's what it all comes down to. Yeah, so I saw that you've been digging the new Run the Jewels album. Or have you listened to it yet?
It's not. It's not too shabby.
Yeah, no, definitely
It
not.
is fucking amazing.
No, I actually think it's
I think.
probably their
I think it's great.
I think it's probably their best album. I mean, probably my favorite one. I mean,
So it's funny that you say that. I've had a lot of people think number two is their best album.
yeah.
I've heard that, which number two is really good.
Yeah.
But I think each album you could definitely hear them grow, but and also have a different style
Yes.
within the album. So I think it just matters what kind of mood I'm in, and I'll
Yeah.
listen to a specific album of theirs. Like I think three for me, man, it has some great bangers on it. And it's just more dancey is not the right word, but it's more groovy, more like I can get, I'll definitely be shaking my head to this, listen to this one. I can get down with this one, right?
Yeah.
Number four, I think, has the most, I think number four is their most spoken about life right now, in my opinion. And then number one's just raw because that was the first one. I don't know. Like I said, it just depends on mood, and like each album has a different mood for me personally. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think that this one, they've always been political to a certain degree, but I think this one came out right at the right time. I think, Killer Mike has always been very outspoken in his politics. And you got Zach De La Rocha, back on the mic again, Rage Against the Machine, of course. I want to know, and I really want to know when that, you remember like 10, 15 years ago, there was supposed to be a Zach De La Rocha solo rap album produced by LP, like way back when, like before Run the Jewels. This was supposed to happen like when LP was still quite underground, actually. Like, I don't know if you follow the label Definitive Jux very much, but they're actually, them and like Atmosphere and like Sage Francis and all these rappers, Idea and Abilities, Aesop Rock, they're the ones that got me back into rap music, because I fell out of it. Because, you and I grew up in a similar time. And in the 90s, it was all about metal. It was all about punk rock, whatever. I mean, the closest thing I had really to, I guess I did own a Cypress Hill album when I was like in 8th grade. And, of course, Beastie Boys. And when I was a kid, I had Vanilla Ice, Criss Cross, DJ Jazzy Jeff, and the Fresh Prince. But other than that, I didn't really own any rap. Until about, I heard like Dr. Octagon, for instance, and that's what got me. That's what got me back into it. And But anyway, so I was into all of that stuff. And Zach De La Roca was supposed to come out with a solo rap album. And I mean, we got One Day as a Lion, which was tight.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it's time, Zach. I mean, not only is it time for Rage to put out a new album, but it's time for Zach to put out a solo rap album as well, produced by LP. Wouldn't that just be amazing?
I bet I, it would be amazing, but I doubt it's ever happening.
I doubt it is too.
I've heard things like yeah, I mean, I've watched things on YouTube, people talking about the same thing, right? Where like, where the fuck is this thing at? You've had plenty of time. And honestly, I don't think Zach gives a fuck, right? Like, it's not his priority. His other priority is leading his movements, leading what he believes in and doing what he needs to do for himself and the communities that he wants to be involved in.
Yeah, for the political
and
cause.
he just, he just went, obviously who knows exactly what happened to Rage and, is it just, what am I trying to say here? Did they quit? Did they break up because they were just going too far from what their beliefs are away, or did they want to did Zach want to spend more time not touring and just making music, but, actually, like, go for causes? Who knows, right? But it's like, Rage Against the Machine basically, like, broke up in the prime. Maybe not their prime. I would definitely probably not their prime, but they could have went on forever, I think. But I don't think Zach gives a fuck, and he just does whatever he wants, and yeah, we're just never gonna hear it. I think there's like probably 20 people in the world that's heard some of his songs, like, yep, this is dope as fuck, and he's like, yeah, don't put it out.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I would argue that Rage was definitely probably in about their prime. I definitely, me personally, I definitely liked Evil Empire in the first album a little bit more than I like Battle of Los Angeles, but I still think that, that album still had some great stuff, and it was still a solid album. I think I agree with you. I think they could have just kept going, and it would have been interesting to hear what Rage would have came out with after Battle of Los Angeles. But you know what? I never thought in a million years, I don't know how you feel about Mr. Bungle, but I never thought in a million years that Mr. Bungle would put anything else out after their third album. And here we are with, newly recorded music from them, like 20 years later. And granted, it's a punk rock cover, but, still nonetheless, there's, reunions are kind of one of those things it happens, and I don't know. Like, I definitely have some feelings about reunion. I always, whenever I hear about a band getting back together, I always hope they put out something new from it, But,
right.
A lot of times that doesn't happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Rage doesn't put out anything new, but we'll see.
We're going. Yeah, they were supposed to go on tour together with Run the Jewels, right? Like, what a fucking tour that would have been, right? Like,
yes, that would have been
amazing. Talking the 90s most. Yeah, you're talking the 1990s most political band out there, right? The most vocal, the most just in your face, and probably had, I think, probably the biggest voice in the political scene, right? And then you have Run the Jewels, which I don't know anyone else bigger than them in the late 2000s, 2010s, and obviously the beginning of 2020, right? Like, bigger political voice than them, and they're going to go on tour together.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well, and not only
shit was going to go down, I think a lot of
yeah, absolutely.
But
you still there, Carl?
Now we don't get that tour. And everyone's like, "Oh, next year." Yep, you got me.
Yeah. No, I think I lost you there for a second.
Oops. Yep. But yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, they'll go on tour next year." I'm like, they will not be going. I don't think they'll be on tour together. Like, I think that this tour is done, and it's going to be hard for them to line everything back up. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. What I would have liked to have seen And unfortunately, I probably wouldn't have been able to make it to any of the shows anyway. But you know, that's one of the good things about social media is that you can always find live performances. I would have liked to have seen some of those, because that Zach would have hopped up on the mic with Run the Jewels on some of those tracks, So
100%. 100%. Yeah, exactly.
That would have been so tight to see.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. I mean, who fucking knows, right? Like, concerts, fuck, man. That's the thing I miss the most, man, is going to a concert. I think movies are cool. I like movies. Movies are easy to digest and, you can think about it. But going to live concerts is one of my, let's just say, spiritual things that I like to do more than anything.
Yeah.
I tell people, all my friends from Muscatine, Munson, my brother, everyone, we went to so many concerts. We go to all the concerts together? No, but I know, all our friends, that was a huge thing, and that's why I think we all got along, because we all enjoy music on some level that most people just didn't understand, right? And man, what the fuck is the last concert I went to? Fuck, was it? Damn, I don't even know right now.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think it was a concert.
I mean, outside of
I think it was just a kind of a small show.
Yeah, outside of a local show, I can't remember the last big band or whatever, or you know what I mean. I think if you're gonna talk a stadium show, I think it was probably Smashing Pumpkins. That might have been the last one.
When was that?
Well, that would have been in 96. I mean, it would have been when we were freshmen.
What?
But I'm talking about a
really. That's the last.
Oh wait, no. You know what? Duh. It would have been either Tool during the Lateralist tour, or it would have been the Pledge of Allegiance tour, which had Slipknot, System of a Down, Rammstein, couple of opening bands, I think. American Head Charge, and that 2002. But I mean, I also saw Converge a couple of times. I guess I did see Converge.
Sure.
I guess you could kind of count. I mean, at this place called the Rave in Milwaukee. I went there.
I know that. Yeah.
That was with Haybreed, but then Converge and Glassjaw were the openers. And then after that, I can't think of I saw Sunny Day Real Estate, Built to Spill, which they're not really I didn't see them in a huge, but they're still a major label, kind of big band. But I didn't see them they don't play to thousands of people somebody like Green Day or whatever. Green Day was my first concert. But yeah. What was your first concert, Carl?
Besides the local show was Incubus, Sugar Ray, and 311 at the Mark. When Science just came out for Incubus, Sugar Ray was just on the uppity up, and 311's Transistor album came out.
Oh man, dude! I love.
And talk about
love. Sugar Ray is kind of questionable, but I do love 311 and Incubus.
Dude, this is when Brandon had dreads down to his calves, and no one knew who the fuck they were. And they played everything from Fungus Among Us and Science. And dude, that fucking floor just got rocked because it was just so banging, dude. They just came out, and he played his instruments, what's the thing called from Australia? The didgeridoo.
Oh yeah.
And he played his solo. Dude, it was just straight up. And then 311 smash. Sugar Ray was good. They were okay, but I was not there to see them. I was there to see the other two bands. I was just hurry the fuck up and get done,
Yeah.
But,
Incubus.
Yeah, but my last concert, what's that?
I was just saying, I was just actually listening to Science the other day. That's still my favorite album from them.
Oh, it's hands down their best album. Like what's it? Is it Part of Me or Make Yourself?
Yeah, that
And
was
then,
good.
that's good. Fungus Among Us is, yeah. I mean, Fungus Among Us is good. And what's it? Morning View.
Morning View is
I think that's the album
okay.
right after Make Yourself.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That album's good. But after that, any album after Morning View, I don't give two shits about. Like I'm not mad at them for going the direction they go. It's perfectly fine. That's the direction they wanted to go as a band. Perfectly fine. I'm happy with that. Just not for me.
Sure. You didn't like Crow Left of the Murder at all?
Meh. There's a couple songs, but
yeah.
Maybe I was just too like over him, and I didn't give it a chance. But at this point in my life, I really don't give a fuck anymore. Like I'm just over it.
No, I totally understand. That would have been probably the last album for me. I pretty much agree with you. I mean, after Make Yourself, they didn't make anything very remarkable. But man, Science, like just listening to the instrumentation on that album is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable, man. It was. No one else had done an album like that. And I still, to this day, don't know a band that has put out an album that just sounds like that, right? Just raw, experimental. It just...
Yeah, no, it's...
I mean, it was basically prog new metal rock before prog rock was a thing, I think, like, maybe not exactly progressive rock, but it had elements of that built into it.
Yeah, no, they were definitely, like, great at their instruments. I would say the only other band that I would have compared them to that came before them, maybe Faith No More a little bit, but like...
Yeah, I can... Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, because Brandon Boyd was unquestionably, definitely, at that time, you could tell by his voice he was really influenced by Mike Patton's vocals, but he did it his own way, man. Like, oh man, yeah, that's still an incredible album. Now that we're geeking out over albums, before we end this, why don't we go ahead and do like some sort of like list of like, how about we do this? How about 5 albums that we were listening to, since we're kind of talking about the time period. So we're talking 96. You graduated the same year as me, 99. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I did. Yep.
95 to 99 is when we were in or 96 to 99 is when we were in high school. So how about 5 albums, and they don't have to be in any order. 5 albums like Science, and let's not include Science because we already talked enough about that album. But 5 albums that we listened to then that still hold up today for you.
Oh, dude, I listen to this shit all the time. Spotify makes me a list. Do you listen to music on Spotify?
Oh, absolutely. That's my main platform, man.
All right. I don't listen to music on any other platform except for maybe YouTube Music, right? Just because there's like Mac Miller has like mixtapes that you can't get on Spotify or something like that, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so are we gonna alternate?
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's alternate. You say one, I say one, until we each get our 5 in.
Yep. Okay. So I listened to this album randomly, and it's so fun because I remember I used to have an S10 black truck, and I would just drive around Muscatine, fucking getting high, and just listen to this album, and I still listen to it, and it just brings me back to that moment in my life where I just didn't do anything, right? Like, I mean, I was working, I was still going to school, but I just wasn't hanging out with people. I would just drive around listening to the album. Static X, Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin Death Trip. Yeah.
Death Trip, yeah, Wisconsin Death Trip.
Yes. And you know what? I
don't know, dude.
I have to admit, I'm kind of unfamiliar with it. What do you like about that album, though?
I've always been in industrial music, like back in the day, right? Nine Inch Nails, KMFDM, Skinny Puppy, and everything like that. And so it took that and then just added, I think, more metal to it, right? Like, I don't know, just more electronics to it, just more upbeat fun. It wasn't just, because like industrial music's always been kind of like drudge metal, right? Like it's kind of depressing, right? You kind of have these other feelings of anger and just other feelings. But that album had that same kind of feeling in music, but it made me happy, right? It was just fun. It just kind of, you could nod your head to it and you could kind of dance to it. Yeah. And I saw those motherfuckers live. It was them, System of a Down, Head PE, and Fear Factory in Des Moines. And it was just amazing live. I think it was one of the things, like when I see someone live, I go back to listen to the album. I'm like, oh my God, this is so great because I know what it sounds like live. They do it live. It was just fun. It was just lighthearted, to me. So
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I just
yeah. No, that's like I said, I never really listened to Static X that much outside of the the singles, the videos and stuff like that.
Right.
That I would see on MTV.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Green Day Dookie, man. That still to me is it's a classic for me, man. I mean, I actually just listened to it not that long ago, and I think I appreciate Green Day's early output more than I ever did, like as an adult right now. I mean, I don't know. I just think it definitely brings me. It's kind of like Static X with you, but in a different way. Obviously, it brings a smile to my face. Just takes me back to a much more, simpler time.
It's a different time. It's a completely different time.
And, exactly. And also, as I mentioned,
we were 15 years old.
Yeah, 15 years old, and also it brings me back to because like I said, it was my first concert, so. And I still just think that from beginning to end, it's just a solid album, not an ounce of filler on it, and it's good music, to me. So.
Yeah, and it was one of those first CDs too that you kind of knew what, like, everyone talked about the secret song.
Yeah, right? Yeah, like, that's true.
Like, ooh, did you hear that? You're like, wait, what? There's a secret song? You have to go back, and put it on cassette tape and let it go, and like, oh my God, or CD or whatever the fuck you got it on.
That's actually one thing that I really miss about that era is like of the era of physical CDs is that there was always the secret song became like such a big thing where it was almost like every time you bought a CD and after the last track you would almost be disappointed if the CD ended and it stopped. You'd be like, oh man, there's no secret song. Like this album would have been so tight with the secret song. Yeah, that's a good point. I never. The first album that I remember doing that, the first CD was Nirvana Nevermind. On the early pressings of Nevermind, there was that hidden track, Endless Nameless. But then after the first like 10,000 copies, they reissued it without the hidden track for some reason. And I remember it made a lot of people pissed off because they were like, "Oh, there's no hidden track on here." But
right, my first secret song that I can remember is on Tool's Undertow album.
Oh yeah, that's a fucking unforgettable one right there.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't remember the Nirvana one off the top of my head, but who knows? Like I said, I've lost a lot of brain cells since.
Yeah.
95.
We all did, man. That's age. Age is a mind killer. Yep. For sure.
It fucking sucks.
It does.
So this is gonna play off your Green Day one because I did play the Green Day Dookie album about a month ago at work. We could play pretty much where the fuck we want to, and I played that entire album. I'm just like, cool. Man, there's so many great songs in this album, and I remember almost all the words.
Yeah.
Okay, but so good. But the Weezer Blue album.
Oh, jeez. What an excellent pick. Man.
It's just, I remember growing up, Jeff Ruffner and Drew Burkamper and me, like all three of us, like inseparable. And I just remember playing that album while we were playing hockey or doing rollerblading, or just had that motherfucker on repeat all the time. There's just
The
so
way,
good. It's just so simple.
yeah,
Like
and the songs are just so good, and like Weezer, I mean, it was pop, grunge, indie, whatever you want to call it. It was
mhm.
perfection. And also Weezer is one of those bands for some reason that they transcended genres, and the fact that like they were the only band that sounded like them that metalheads loved for some reason. Like I remember
Mhm.
like I remember like
Right.
straight up metalheads who like hated Green Day, hated even Smashing Pumpkins was too soft for them, or even like hell, even Nirvana just wasn't that. But for some reason, they loved the hell out of Weezer, and that always like it made me
Yeah.
wonder how that was all because dude, there were people that were straight up just like everybody who I knew literally loved Weezer. Like it didn't matter what they were into. It's like
Yeah.
straight up metalheads. They're like listening to nothing but Coal Chamber, 6 Feet Under, whatever. And then it's like, hey, you know what? I love that Weezer album. Let's listen to Weezer. you know,
Right.
it was so weird.
Yeah.
Like I never quite understood why that was, but now I understand why it is because the fucking album is perfect. Like
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like it's so good.
inescapable. I mean,
Yeah.
and everything that Rivers Cuomo is singing about is so fucking like it's just relatable, I think. You know? Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a solid pick. Man, love that. Only in Dreams. That song still gets me, man, to this day. Um Okay, well, I think I'm going to continue the Weezer thing, and I'm going to have to say, since you picked the Blue album, I'm going to have to say Pinkerton, their second album. Uh,
Yeah.
I I love both of those Weezer albums equally. I used to,
Mhm. Okay.
I used to like Pinkerton better, but honestly, like I just like them both equally. But Pinkerton, I mean, is for me just as good. The Blue album is just as good, and both of those Weezer albums I listen to nonstop. So I'm gonna have to throw Pinkerton on that one as well for my pick.
I'm gonna have to listen. I haven't listened to that album in a I haven't listened to that album in a long time, so I might have to go and re-explore it and and just check it out again. Because honestly, it would be almost if I was listening to it the first time again. I bet it's been that long, honestly.
It's
So when you had what's
love
that?
it.
What's the single off that song or off the album?
Well, El Scorcho and The Good Life,
Yeah,
but
Elspeth Show. Yeah,
they both at the time were not nearly as popular as anything off the Blue album. I mean, when that
right,
album first came out, it was such a commercial failure. But then over time, it became such a cult hit. And then next thing you know, like it sold, just as many records as the Blue album over time when people discovered it. You know,
right.
so it's so weird. But I both of those Weezer albums, man. They both of them special place in my heart for that time period for sure. All right, what's next on your list, Carl?
So my next album, this album is because it's great. I've still listened to it, but my son likes this band, and he listens to this album, and he has all three of their LPs. Is Toadie's Rubberneck.
Oh my god, dude.
So my son knows the entire Rubberneck album, and he knows. I don't know if he knows about the Hazy Stars one or whatever that second album is, but
Hell Below
he
Stars Above,
has.
yeah.
I don't know how well he knows those. Yeah, which is a great album. That album is so like no one
Dude,
knows about it, but
that is
it's awesome. But
so
um,
underrated. That is like the most underrated album ever. But yes, Rubberneck. My
yeah,
gosh.
Rubberneck is amazing, dude. Like every song on that is perfect. It's just again, it just works. And I don't know why. Like it's just perfect. Every song
Absolutely.
it's catchy.
And it's like and
Yeah, like I said,
I mean they have the song Possum Kingdom, but there's so many other songs on that record. I mean, it's a perfect record. It's just like the Blue Album.
Oh,
I mean, and
yeah.
that
I mean,
leads,
I Come From the Water, Tyler, I
yes,
Burn. Oh,
and like that lead singer has one of the most underappreciated vocals. I mean, he has such a great singing voice, you know? I mean, yeah.
And just awesome that my son, yeah, it's just great that my son loves them too. You know, he's just like, they're fun. I'm like, awesome. I'm glad you like this, you know?
That is great, man. I love the Toadies. Yeah, man, that's awesome that your son is into them too. That was definitely a defining moment from, I mean, that is a 90s classic, hands down, for sure. Okay, so next up, so we're at number 3 now, right? Yeah, we are.
That was 3.
Yep, that was 3. So, and this will be number 3 for me then. So, I think I'm gonna have to go with Smashing Pumpkins, because we were mentioning Smashing Pumpkins, and I'm gonna have to go with Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. I mean, that was a record that just absolutely,
right.
I absolutely loved it when I was in high school, and I'm not a huge Pumpkins fan today, necessarily, not the same way that I was then, but I still, when I listen to that record, I still think it's amazing. I mean, just what blows me away about it is the range on it, man. They literally go from like, like just beautiful like ballad, like a beautiful ballad like Tonight Tonight, to just almost like metal on like a song like XYU. I mean, it's both Smashing Pumpkins. It's some of their heaviest material, but also some of their most beautiful and just melodic, and just, it's just a perfect album all the way through. And for a double album to exist in the 90s like that, that's not an easy feat.
Yeah.
That wasn't an easy thing for them to do.
Yeah.
They just did it right. I mean,
yeah, I did. Zero is so fucking good. Dude.
It is.
I think that song is just so. Oh fuck, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's been a while since I listened to that album album in its entirety. But it's anytime it comes on, I'm like, oh fuck, man, I forgot about this song. Or yeah, this song is amazing, But it's definitely
unbelievable.
Pretty damn good.
Unbelievable. Okay, number 4, Carl.
Okay, so since you did a double album, I'll do a double album.
Okay.
And this band, I mean, it's hard to say. Too many bigger bands than Nine Inch Nails, right? In the 90s. I mean, just everything that they would do, and, their live performances and just what they stood for. So you had The Fragile. Mm-hmm. That fucking double album, man. I listened to that entirety like 4 or 5 months ago. Just sat down. I didn't do anything else. I just listened to it. I'm just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Just amazing. Just pure gold. And like you said, like double albums were hard. Like that was kind of a thing back in the late 80s, early 90s maybe, but like people just stopped doing it. And I can't really think of anyone else besides Pumpkins and Nine Inch Nails that had a successful double album.
No, not during that time.
I'm trying to go back and remember everyone, but
not during that time. Yeah. It didn't.
And so
didn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
So I did see. I saw Perfect Circle when Mayor Noms just came out. They opened up for Nine Inch Nails when The Fragile just came up. Oh my god, dude! That concert is probably one of the best $50 concerts I've ever been to. And we're talking 99, right? So for a concert ticket to be $50, $55 in 99, probably would be like $200 today. Yeah, it was fucking amazing, dude. Like, it was everything I wanted it to be. But yeah, listen to the album again. It's just so good because Trent Reznor can tell a story through music. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly every note and why it's there for. It's just so good.
It is a beautiful album. There's a lot of really, really great stuff. I didn't appreciate it when it first came out as much as I do now, because A few years back, I actually went through the whole Nine Inch Nails discography and listened to everything. And yeah, The Fragile, man. When it first came out, I think it was just too much for me to really wrap my head around for whatever reason. But man, there's some, I mean, we're in this together now just for that song alone. I mean,
my God.
Such a great track.
So good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so moving on, I think I'm going to actually move a little bit into the metal realm here. I'm going to go with an album that I listened to a lot when I was like, I don't know, 16 or something like that. That I still think is a great album and probably really about the only album from this artist that I'm really still like, I'll still listen to like to this day. And that is Portrait of an American Family, Marilyn Manson's first album. I used to love that album when I was 16, and I just recently listened to it again, and I was like, this album still jams, man. That was when Manson was at his rawest, and I feel like also there was a sense of humor. I don't think he was taking himself as seriously as he does now, and I think that there was something.
Right.
I think that there was something that was captured with the feeling of that record that maybe wasn't present or hasn't been present really since. Same with the remix album, Smells Like Children. They both had this like weird sort of sense of humor. It was still dark, but it seemed a little more cartoony, and it seemed like, but also just the songs are just really, really well put together. Like the song Lunchbox and Dope Hat and all this stuff. And when I first heard of Manson, I mean, I was pretty much, I heard about them before Sweet Dreams, but the first time I actually heard Manson, like many people our age, was through Sweet Dreams, his cover of Sweet Dreams. But
right.
And then I went out and bought Portrait and bought Smells Like Children. And yeah, to this day, it's probably the only Manson album that I'll listen to, and probably not even that much, but like it's still, I mean, it still holds up to me today. Like I could still listen to it and not try, not think, I need to take this out,
Right, yeah. I haven't listened to that one in a while. Maybe I'll listen again, but I do listen to Antichrist Superstar. There's some great fucking songs on that album.
I'm not gonna dispute that at all, because I mean, like Cryptor Child is a great. Tourniquet, that opener, Irresponsible Hate Anthem.
Yeah, Tourniquet. I think Tourniquet's
Tourniquet is a high point.
Yeah,
in Manson.
Tourniquet's probably my favorite album.
Dude, that's definitely a high point from
but
Manson.
I'll probably go listen. Yeah. I'll definitely go revisit A Portrait of American Family and let you know what I think of it. Dude, I'll guarantee it's been at least 10 years since I listened to that album. Guaranteed at least.
Yeah.
It's probably even longer than that.
The thing I like about it is it's the most straightforward, in your face, like raw, just heavy music, that, you know what I mean? Like after Portrait was actually pretty basic compared to what Manson did after that. It was pretty much just a metal album with some sound effects and keyboards thrown in straight up, and even had like a punky sound to it. But then it was with Antichrist, or really with Smells Like Children, where he started to get more experimental. But there's something about that urgency, the energy of Portrait, that still to this day is like, I can listen to it and be like, yeah, man, I remember exactly the time period when I would annoy my parents by having my Discman and listening to this and bouncing on the couch while they're trying to fucking like watch a movie or something and yelling at me to like, turn that down, Like, it just takes me back to that.
Right, but I mean, that's so true with a lot of bands, though.
Absolutely, but...
Yeah, I mean, everyone's first albums are so much more raw, and I don't think so, but more raw than anything else. Like, right? Like, Incubus, right? Like, Fungus, Mungus, and Science.
Yeah.
None of their albums ever after that even remotely sound like that, right? Marilyn Manson. Who else? Like Deftones. Like Adrenaline It's completely just pure energy, just pure aggression. Yes, they had other songs like that, but no album was just start to finish like that, you know?
Yeah,
What else?
Limp Bizkit.
I can't think of it, but...
Limp Bizkit, if you want to go back to
dude, $3 bills, y'all?
Yeah, $3 bill, and then Korn.
Yeah.
The first two. Dude, Life is Peachy and the self-titled by Korn. Come on, man. Like... I
listen to those all the time too, man.
Dude, Life is Peachy is still a solid album. I don't care what anyone says. Like, the guitar sounds...
It is.
I mean, come on, man.
That's so fucking good.
Yeah, dude, they're both...
Dude, go listen to Go listen to Clown and Faggot. Just go listen.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole album, the first album's great, but just go listen to those two songs, dude. It's still... I still get this feeling inside of, like, what the fuck did they write? You know?
Yeah,
like,
no,
it's still eerie.
And
still crazy.
The thing is what Korn was doing literally was something new. There was literally nobody before them that sounded like them, like, really at all. Like, I mean, I remember when I first heard of Korn, I remember I was like, somebody told me about them, and I don't remember who they were. And it was when I was in 8th grade. So this was like, they were still, like, being... The thing about them that was so great is that I remember MTV would play them on like Alternative Nation in 120 Minutes and Headbangers Ball because they didn't know what the fuck to do with them. Because it's like, okay, yeah, they're kind of metal,
right.
but they have like this noisy side that makes them a little more like experimental. Like, people don't understand how crazy, how revolutionary those first two Korn albums really kind of were. I mean, in retrospect, like they really
100%.
They brought something different to the metal genre, for better or for worse. Unfortunately, you had a bunch of not so great clone bands after them, but the same can be said for fucking Pearl Jam.
Right.
You know, like the same could even be said for Green Day. I mean, that's just what happens. But yeah, no.
Right.
Korn, I still give Korn a lot of credit to this day. I don't care. I still think that they were like...
No, yeah.
I mean, there was a period of time where I kind of made fun of them because I thought that I was cool for liking more intense music or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but, dude, at the end of the day, I was always secretly kind of like, yeah, this Life is Peachy is actually kind of cool. You know? Like...
Oh, dude, I told people this... So on Spotify, like I said, my main channel is always like mixes of like, you know, Alice in Chains, Tool, fucking a bunch of other stuff, right? Back in the 90s. And that's the number one channel they recommend to me. And then one day you'll throw in randoms like, who the fuck is this playing? Is this Korn? And I'm like, what album is this off of? And I looked it up. Dude, it's Korn's newest album.
Oh, really?
Go listen to it and tell me. It is fantastic. It takes me back to those two albums, right? It has this just raw anger, energy. It listen to it. Just listen. I think honestly, I'm not saying you're going to enjoy it as much as I do, but I think you'll at least appreciate. Like, it takes you back to that time when those two albums came out. You just feel these songs again. Obviously, it has some newer styles in it because it's what they're fucking in their 40s now, but it's exceptional.
Cool.
I think.
Yeah.
I think it's very, but yeah. So
I've actually had a couple of other people.
My number one.
I'm sorry, Carl. I was just saying, a couple other people have told me the same thing about the new Korn.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is now album number 5. Is that what we're on now?
Album number 5. Yep.
Okay,
and
last one.
If anyone who knows me knows what this answer is already going to be.
I have a hunch.
It is my favorite album. Yeah, it's my favorite album of all time. There's nothing else that even comes close to this album. There's a couple albums like kind of close, but it's its own world, and that's Tool Enema. Like, it is perfect from minute 1 to minute 74. I think that's how long the album is. 74 minutes long. But it's just mind blowing. I remember the first time hearing it, I was just like, what the fuck did I just experience? Like it just transcends me personally, and it's written so well. The songs are so laid out perfect. They were doing stuff that no one ever was doing in music, you know, especially around that time, right, in 96 when it came out. It's just great. And my son listens to Tool on his own. I'll hear him in the bathroom when he's taking a shower. He's listening to Tool, he's listening to songs on that album, and he's learning songs off that album too now. So, like, he plays guitar, so he's learning how to play songs off that album. So, besides, yeah, I just don't know. I mean, like, when people say they don't like Tool, I'm just like, yeah, I don't get why you don't like it, man. Like, there's no one else is doing stuff like this. But, you know, I'm not going to argue to them, you know, but I'm just like, yeah, sure. I don't get it, but whatever. I don't care, you know.
Yeah, well, I think that like Anima, I have to agree with you. It's an incredible album, hands down their best album in my opinion. And one of the things that blows me away about it is the progression from Undertow to Anima in that, you know, and also
right, exactly.
And also the fact that
it's insane.
It doesn't sound like the same band in retrospect. And then also the other thing that's incredible, didn't they record it in just like 3 days or some shit? Like it was recorded in a very
No, that album. Yeah, I don't know the record length time of it, but I do know this is during the middle of the recording is when their bass player, what the fuck was this? Paul Diomar or whatever the fuck his name was. He either quit or left the band. Yeah, so he left the band during halfway through the recording. So then they had to get Justin Chancellor, and he had to go right to it. So I don't think that album was recorded in 3 days because that'd be impossible for that to all, you know, happen. But, I mean, I used to know, or let me rephrase that. I used to think I knew what songs Paul played and what songs Justin played. I don't know that anymore because I kind of I've lost that, like, guess and that intuition. But yeah. I used to be like, I bet this is Justin's bass lines because like, they are so Undertow-ish. But then, like, they're so unique. I go, that's got to be Justin, you know, whatever. So, But yeah, like, you're right. Like, between Opiate and Undertow, and then the next album is Enema. It's like, what did you get? Like, what happened? Like, how did you guys grow instrumentally in those 4 years?
Yeah.
You know, but
I do know though, or at least I heard that if it wasn't 3 days, it was recorded, from what I understand, in a shockingly short amount of time. Like for a record like that. I seem to remember something about that. I'm going to do some research. So don't take my word as gospel, folks.
Maybe you're right. Yeah.
But, like, at least that's what I heard.
Maybe you're right. Maybe the songs were written.
Yeah, and then they just went
in. There's a difference between writing a song and recording a song.
Yeah, that might be the case. But even if it was just recorded and they had everything written and they worked on that, that would be impressive as fuck. You know, because that record is just otherworldly.
Oh, yeah, with that album?
Otherworldly.
Yeah. Third Eye is one of my favorite songs, right?
It's amazing.
That's a 15-minute long song, right? Like, and then H, and then Push It.
Yeah. Oh. And, I mean, the opening track, Stinkfist. It's like, what the hell? But, like, what's really amazing to me is the directness of the lyrics to the title track. And how what's the word that I'm trying to think of here? How they're so relevant to pretty much any time period. You know, like they've been relevant since 96 and they never stopped being relevant. Like no matter what stupid, I shouldn't say stupid, but no matter what catastrophe we find ourselves in, there's always a place for like those lyrics. Like, dude, yeah, no. Anima is definitely a classic album. Hands down. I mean,
yeah, so good.
I listen to that record so much. That is a solid pick there. So, the last pick that I am going to pick is kind of going a little bit off of. He's his own genre as a solo artist, and that's Beck and the album Odelay.
Okay.
I mean, I listened to that record so much when I was in high school. It's It's unbelievable. And him and the band Ween are the two records that are the two bands that really introduced me to like music that was just weird. Just like music that was just
Right.
like, I guess you could call it outsider music that refused to pretty much be categorized. And also
Right.
just stuff that was just fucked up. Like pretty much. I mean,
Yep. I remember like, yeah, I remember like in those times, you and Munson were like the biggest Beck fans that I knew, and like I thought Beck was all right.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, how do these fucking guys love this guy? But then I mean, it makes sense, right? Like I mean, obviously, if you guys go and listen to all the music you guys fucking ever put out, but it's just like I will be honest, I've not listened. Yeah, I've not listened to that album. I guarantee for 20 years.
Yeah. No, it's kind of one of those records that when it's kind of like it's a nice weather record for me. It's one of those records where like this time period every year, actually, I kind of throw it on in the car because it was a summer of '96 record for me, man. And Munson too. For those of you who don't know, Munson is, like one, both me and Carl were good friends with him. I mean, he's my best friend, and he was in a band with me, and we isn't that sweet? And we listen, like me and Travis, man. We were like becoming music fans together, man. Like that was Beck, and then metal. I mean, he definitely like there for a while. I got into a lot more metal as time went on, but I mean, he definitely got into metal hardcore, earlier than I did. But I'll tell you what though, yeah, man, there's so many. I mean, I could talk about 50 of these goddamn records. Like.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
dude, I could go down my Spotify list and just say, oh, this album, this album, this album, this album.
Yes.
But like, I mean, that's what's great about music. Is that it might not be the best album ever, but if you can connect it with like memories of like childhood or like having a great time with your friends, or a significant other, taking a road trip to a concert, seeing them live, I mean, there's so many things that music can do. And then it's not, no one has ever fucking said, I hate music, right? Like, nope, I hate all music, all of it. There's not one good,
Well,
they're fucking lying. I
don't
give a fuck.
Have you ever heard of the band Replacements?
Yep.
They wrote a song called I Hate Music. Or actually, no, it wasn't.
Did they?
Yeah, but it wasn't. Actually, I don't think the song was called I Hate Music. God, I'm going to get crucified because Replacements are one of those bands that has like just a rabid fan base. And so I don't remember if it's called I Hate Music, but I think the lyrics are to a song or I hate music. It's got too many chords. Oh, that's the most punk rock fucking line ever.
But yeah.
Anyway, Carl, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. A great conversation. I'm glad we touched on a lot of things. That's kind of what this whole point of this podcast is I want to, we touched on a lot of things that were unexpected. That's, like I said, I prefer to call these conversations instead of interviews.
Right.
But thanks
Makes sense. I will definitely say if any of your listeners made it this far into this episode, because it's probably, we're banging on 2 hours now.
Yeah.
Go listen to Run the Jewels 4.
Yes.
It is. I said this before the album even dropped that it's going to be rap album of the year. Dude, I don't know how else you're going to beat this album.
It might even be album of the year, like period. I mean, who knows? It depends on what else we got to look forward to, but as of right now, I mean, dude, I don't know if you saw it, but on my YouTube channel, I did a review of it, and I actually didn't want to do album reviews for a while. As soon as I heard Run the Jewels 4 was dropping, I was like, okay, I got to do a fucking review of this. And dude,
I started watching it. I got 10 minutes in, and then I got distracted by other things. But yeah,
Sure.
I think I'm halfway through the review so far,
Sure.
so it's good stuff. But
Yeah, no, it's
the only other album I'm looking forward to this month is Prof is coming out with a new album. Do you listen to Prof at all?
yeah. I've heard a little bit of
Rapper,
Prof.
same.
I gotta get more. I know he's on Rhymesayers, Atmospheres label, so
Yeah,
that's cool.
yep. So
Um,
yeah. So album's coming out. So, but yeah, awesome, dude. Well, I had fun.
yeah, no, me
Yeah.
too, definitely.
So thank you for having me.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording right here.